أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبنا وصفينا أبو القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم الحمد لأهله والصلاة على أهلها وسلام على من اتبع الهدى أما بعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. How do you feel when you belong to the society and the society betrays you? How do you feel when you give trust to the people of the society and the society betrays you? How do you feel when you give trust to your family and your family betrays you? How do you feel when you give trust to your religion and your fellow religious men and women betrays you? How do you feel when you believe in the country, you give trust to the country, and the country betrays you? You don't feel all right. That is betrayal. You trust in somebody and they betray you. You trust in your society and they betray you. It's not a good feeling. It is a bad feeling. If you trust in the religion, you trust in your religion, and your religion, they come to betray you when you are in problems and tribulations and trials, there is a very high chance that you are going to leave your religion to find another religion where you are going to feel safe when you trust them, because they've betrayed you when you trusted them. There is a higher possibility that you are going to leave that religion and you find a religion that is going to welcome and that is going to keep your trust. Betrayal. So many betrayals are happening today within our societies, within our communities, within our religions, and within our sects. Betrayal. And it's not a good feeling. It's not a good situation to be betrayed, to find yourself in the situation whereby you are betrayed. It's not a good feeling. You will die with sorrow and sadness. You will die with loneliness. Why? Because your fellow countrymen and women, your fellow religious people, they've never supported you. The people whom you trusted to help you and to trust you, they have betrayed you. And you don't feel support anymore from anybody. This is what is happening today in many of the places, in many of the countries, in many of the societies in this world. People are being betrayed by their fellow religious people, by their fellow countrymen and women. People are being betrayed. The African societies, African villages, they are being betrayed by the people that are higher than them in their ranks, but they belong to them. Another kind of society of betrayal is the betrayal within religion. You are a Christian, you are betrayed by your fellow Christian men and women. You are a Muslim, you are betrayed by your fellow Muslim men and women. That is a bad feeling. That is a bad concept. And it is a bad and sorrowful and lonely feeling that you feel when you feel to be alone. Look at the people of Palestine today. The people of Palestine, they are being betrayed by some of their fellow Muslim brothers and sisters. They don't have support. They don't have the feeling to be there. And what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in the Quran about betrayal? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He says, Na'udhu billahi min ash-shaytan rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Al-munafiquna wal-munafiqat ba'dhuhum min ba'dhin ya'maruna bil-munkar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, The hypocrite men and hypocrite women, they are one and the same. Do not be deceived by what they do. Do not be deceived by how they look like. Do not be deceived that just because this is a woman cannot betray me. This is a small boy cannot betray me. This is an old man cannot betray me. Nah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says they are one and the same. Even though they might hide their traits inside, they might hide their feelings inside, but they are one and the same. They encourage people to do bad things. They encourage people to do bad things. They encourage people to go against the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They encourage people to disobey Allah in action, in speech, and in every possible way they can do to distract and to make people not to obey the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He continues by saying, وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمَعْرُوفِ. When they encourage people to do evil, they also discourage people from doing good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He continues also by saying, وَيَقْبِضُونَ أَيْدِيَهُمْ. And they do not give in their hands. What kind of giving in was Allah was saying here? They do not give in the hand of help. They don't give in charity. They also don't give in the hand of help to the people that are oppressed. Look how many people that are oppressed around you in your society today. Are you having the feeling of helping them? Do you want to help them? Do you want to keep it just like that? Nasullaha fanasiyahum. They took themselves away from the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the actions that they are doing, by not giving the hand of help, by encouraging people to do evil, by discouraging people to do good, and by not stretching their hands for help. It means they took themselves away from the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fanasiyahum. And Allah takes His blessings away from them. He deprives them the blessings. Why? Because of their traits inside. Mind you, these are both men and women. And then Allah continues by saying, indeed the hypocrites, they are transgressors. They cause confusion in the society. They cause oppression in the society. When they need to help, they don't want to help. When they need to stretch their hands, they don't want to stretch their hands. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam says, "Laysa minna man khana bil amana." He is not with us he who betrays the trust. He is not with us he who betrays when people have trusted him. The Prophet says it clearly here. You are not with the Prophet Muhammad. You might be a Muslim. You might be calling yourself a Muslim, but you are not with the Prophet when you betray the trust that people have trusted upon you. You are not with the Prophet when your fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, children are dying, are crying out there somewhere. When African nations are crying for development, for achievement, you are not there to assist. And when they trust you that you are going to help them out, you are betraying their trust. You are not with the Prophet. And the person who is not with the Prophet is a person who is far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you are not with the Prophet, you are far away from Allah. because it is through the Prophet, it is through the Imams when you are going to be near to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. That is the same deprivation which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says and mentions in the Quran. فَنَسِيَهُمُ اللَّهُ. And Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, Al-khiyanatu ra'asun nifaq. He says betrayal is a fountainhead of hypocrisy. It means for a person to be the hypocrite, the threat of betrayal has to be into that person. The concept of hypocrisy is a concept of sellout. You sell your brothers. You pretend to be with your brothers and sisters. You pretend to be with your society. You pretend to love your society, but you betray them. When you betray them, you become the hypocrite. That is just something that is into some of the people that are not thinking, some of the people that are very arrogant and very ignorant. And therefore it tells us that ignorance is a worst disease. You have to know the people that are with you. You have to know the people that are surrounding you. You need to know the society. You should not be the person that is the first one to be the betrayer of his brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما